Something else we should address is what's referred to as doctype or the doctype for your HTML file. Now, all a doctype is it's simply a statement or a declaration which tells the browser what version of HTML our code is using or our file is using, and therefore how the code should be rendered inside the browser. That's really all there is to it. Now, the doctype has to appear at the very top of our document, even before the opening HTML tag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my cursor right at the very, very beginning of my file, and I'll just hit enter a few times there and then move my cursor back up to the top. This is where we want to put our doctype. Here's where it gets a little bit confusing. There's a bunch of different doctypes that we can make use of depending on what version of HTML we're going to use. So if we are still using HTML version 4, and again, this kind of delves off into geek land for a bit, or techie land, but here's the down and dirty. I'll try and keep it as simple and straightforward for you as I can. HTML4 is based on something called SGML, which you may or may not have heard of. And because it's based on SGML, the doctype had to reference something called a DTD. And depending on exactly what we were doing, we could make use of 3 different doctypes in HTML4. We could use strict, transitional, or frame set. Now, if you are working with HTML5, if you're moving over to HTML5, HTML5 is not based on SGML, so we don't need a reference to a DTD. So if we're going to use HTML5, here's what we would type in at the very top of our document. We'd type in open angle bracket, exclamation point, and then doctype. There we go, something like that. And then space HTML, close angle bracket. That's all there is to it. It isn't case sensitive either, by the way. And when I save this file and I go back to my browser and refresh, I see a minor change inside my page here. I saw my text shift down just a little bit. Again, because I'm telling the browser how the code and also how the content should render inside the browser. Now, if you are completely confused by everything that I've just said inside this exercise, fear not. What I have here is the w3schools.com website open here. You can head to w3schools.com/tag_doctype.asp, and you can read up and get a little bit more detail on exactly how these doctypes work. And if you're really not sure which doctype to use, you can stick with HTML4 strict. And as a matter of fact, you can just grab this code right out of the page, select it all, copy it, and paste it at the very top of your document, and all should be well. But I think things are looking really good for me here. I'm sticking with the HTML5 doctype, which is going to serve me just fine for our purposes here.